To all the non-believers, 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 non-believers. I'm making out.
What's up, y'all? This is Jay Varsity, and welcome to another episode of NBA Talk. This is episode 124, and I'm going to be recapping on what was a weird day in the NBA because it seemed like all the quote-unquote good slash contending teams got an upset loss yesterday. The headline of the matter is we're gonna be talking about is the Los Angeles Clippers and the Dallas Mavericks. But again, it just felt like a really weird night. It just felt like it was just a weird afternoon in the NBA. But I'm gonna be giving my takes on some of these games. The first I want to get on with I'm going to get on with the headline, which is the Dallas Mavericks blowing out the Clippers in a 50-point blowout yesterday. Look, Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing, so I understand if it was even if it was a 10-point loss or 20-point loss, I would still say, the Dallas Mavericks got clicking. Kawhi Leonard wasn't playing. That was the difference. That's it. But to get blown out by 50 at halftime and in general, you just didn't make a difference in the second half, and the Dallas Mavericks just looked godly on offense. That's just what can go wrong will go wrong in that game, because the fact that the Dallas Mavericks were hitting perimeter shots like crazy and the Clippers were not stopping them. They couldn't buy a basket. I don't know. I was confused just seeing the halftime score yesterday, and then actually seeing the game itself. I was just beyond confused because I saw no playmaking. The offense was very very stagnant. I saw Ty Lue trying to get the team, trying to get them up somehow, but they showed no fight. They looked like they had the same. They looked like they had the same mental collapse as they did against Denver, but this time it was just without Kawhi. Like I just didn't understand I just didn't understand it. I was really confused, but at the same time, it's like it kind of addresses why they needed that playmaking point guard that Kawhi was emphasizing that they needed, and it showed. Because Patrick Beverley is not a playmaking point guard. And the team just looked very slow. They looked sluggish. And Paul George was trying to make something happen, but even he was having a bad night. What was he, 5 for 14, 0 for 6 from 3? It was just one of those nights. Eventually, you're going to have those nights where a playoff contender is going to get blown out by a team who's just having a hot shooting night, but to get blown out like that, that's kind of alarming to me. That's just very alarming because I don't see how you could call yourself a playoff contender and then when one of your core players, that being Kawhi Leonard, is out, and you just can't find a way to fight back against a Dallas Mavericks team which is Luka, role players, and no Porzingis, which should cancel each other out. It just didn't mesh. They just couldn't find a way to beat the Dallas Mavericks. And then this is the same Dallas Mavericks team that the Lakers just dominated on Christmas Day. The Lakers just dominated this same Mavericks team. And the Clippers get smoked by this same Mavericks team. Now, I don't think the Dallas Mavericks are ever going to shoot that hot again against the Clippers like that. I don't see this being an occurring thing when it comes to the Dallas Mavericks shooting this hot against the Clippers, because to me, they still don't have the personnel defensively to stop the Clippers. And they would have to have another godlike shooting night in order to get that hot again. And personally, I don't see that happening. but for a one night for one night they looked like they were hitting nothing but green light threes in this game against the Clippers. And for the Clippers standpoint, I don't think Kawhi should be out that much longer. He'll probably be out another game or maybe another game or two, give or take. I don't think it's going to be such a long period of time for him to come back. The Clippers could get these rolling right as soon as Kawhi gets back, but they need to learn how to mentally get themselves up for some of these games because they can't repeat the same mistake twice. They can't keep making the same mistakes and not getting up for games, not just waiting for games against the Lakers to get ready for. They need to get their reps as a team, and and Paul George mentally has to be that mental leader to let his guys know, hey, that we need to get up for this game, even though Kawhi's not there. Even though even though Paul George has not really given himself much of a case of being that mental leader, because even his answer for the post game was just alarming. That he gave a right answer. It was just one game, but at the same time, you yourself have to say, like, hey, we cannot get ourselves in that kind of situation again. We can't allow ourselves to get blown out by 50, especially at home. So yeah, that was just very alarming and very shocking for me to see. The next game I want to go over is the Hornets. The Brooklyn Nets' first loss came from as an upset from the Charlotte Hornets. Now, I do want to address Brooklyn fans. You suffered a very bad loss from this game. Spencer Dinwiddie did partially tear an ACL. That is a huge loss when it comes to the Brooklyn Nets because Spencer Dinwiddie was a very key piece to this roster aside from KD and Kyrie. To me, he was gonna be what the difference if they would have moved Spencer Dinwiddie to the bench. He would have been that key guy coming off the bench. And now I think that guard play is going to put a little more pressure on Kyrie to do a little bit more because I don't see much other guard depth aside from Karis LeVert that I see from Brooklyn. And then defensively, the Charlotte Hornets were just straight attacking. They just kept being aggressive. The Gordon Hayward, Terry Rozier, they were just being very, very physical. They were being very aggressive on the offensive end. They were knocking down their 3-point shots. KD and Kyrie had good games too. KD with 29, Kyrie with 25. But it was just one of those nights where you're not going to be shooting hot every single night. Like I said, I mentioned in my last episode that I love watching Brooklyn on the offensive end, but not every single night they're going to be shooting as hot as they've been against the Warriors and the Boston Celtics. They're not always going to shoot like that. So, but I never thought in a game like this is why I love the game of basketball, because sometimes you get moments like this that will shock you. I thought the Charlotte Hornets would get blown out by 40 because to me, I looked at the personnel of Brooklyn and I thought they were going to shoot the lights out, but apparently I was wrong and I underestimated the Charlotte Hornets. And I know people are going to try to make a case about how Kyrie trusts KD in the clutch and then he missed a game-tying shot. Look, it was just one shot. Normally 8 times out of 10 KD's going to make that. So if anybody tries to make a big deal out of that, I'm certainly not going to make a big deal out of that because I know Kevin Durant will make a shot. At least he will make a shot that close 10 out of 10 times. So the fact that he missed it that one time to tie the game, and I was surprised he didn't pull up for the 3 though. I was really surprised he didn't pull up for the 3 because that's usually what KD does when he gets it in a position that he was in last night. Kyrie was in a position also to tie the game, but Bismack Biyombo ended up swatting his layup, and that was just another That was just another surprise because Kyrie's very crafty with his layups, and it's very, very rare when I see Kyrie get his layups muffed. So, I'm not. That was an unfortunate night for Brooklyn. It's just their first loss, though. They're 2-1, but again, I think it's worse the fact that they lost Spencer Dinwiddie for the season. I think that's just even worse that they lost Spencer Dinwiddie because I feel like he's a very key piece to their roster, and to me it could impact their guard play later on throughout the season. And I don't know if that will push Brooklyn to do a trade or something like that, but I really wish it wasn't the reason because I like Spencer Dinwiddie, and obviously you don't want to see players getting hurt, but obviously this is going to be a huge blow if they're planning on contending for a championship because they need that guard depth. Next game I want to get on with the Philadelphia 76ers got absolutely destroyed by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, let's just be reminded, y'all. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 3-0. The Cleveland Cavaliers are 3-0, and they just blew out the 76ers. Now, I didn't really see this game, but I did not see Joel Embiid from what I saw, and I know that's not a legit excuse because Joel Embiid didn't play, but I don't know. The road struggles with the Philadelphia 76ers, I hope they don't come back to haunt them. I'm not saying they are, but I said I hope they don't come back to haunt them because you can't tell me, well, wait a minute. Were they playing at home? You see, this is how much I did not pay attention to the game. I don't even know if they were home or they were on the road. All in all, you gotta find a way to win games against teams like the Cleveland Cavaliers. And to me, it just shows the Cavs they're not taking no crap from anybody this year. The Cavs are not taking no crap because I think they're tired of being the laughingstock of the league because LeBron left them, and then they're supposed to be this garbage team for like the next 10 years. But so far, they're 3-0. They're starting out okay. The Philadelphia 76ers, their shots were not hitting. Tobias Harris was not looking good. Ben Simmons did not look good. It ended up in a blowout, and hopefully they bounce back. That was just very bad. The Boston Celtics got upset in the final seconds by the Indiana Pacers. That was a back and forth game. That was a very back and forth game between the Pacers and the Celtics. And one thing I'm finding very frustrating about the Celtics, again, all personal feelings aside, I could care less about the Boston Celtics, but as a basketball fan, I find it very alarming how they need Kemba Walker back badly. They really do. They really do need him back badly because they need to have another guy that can get a bucket aside from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And then when one of them's not on the floor, not just Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum can't get buckets when it's not the both of them on the floor. Unless both of them are on the floor at the same time, when it's just one of them on the court, they can't seem to get an offensive rhythm. And then the whole Tristan Thompson and Daniel Tice in the lineup, it's okay, but I just don't feel that they still lack the size. They still lack the size, and then the offense, I don't see how it works. If it's not Jason Tatum shooting the ball, I feel like they don't know who to run their offense through. I understand, yes, Jason Tatum is becoming is making that superstar progression that people are expecting him to have, and including myself. I haven't been downplaying what Jason Tatum has done since last year, but it's just Boston has had time and time and time again to try to come up with a system, and they should have really made some serious moves in the offseason because with all that they've lost since 2019, You lose Kyrie. You lose Gordon Hayward. You lost some of the little bench depth that you have. You lost Marcus Morris. You lost Terry Rozier. Like, it's just frustrating for me to see. It's just frustrating for me to see. And again, this is just the third game. It's just the third game of the season, but just just have those moments where you can't really score is beyond me. And then Sabonis was amazing, and then to put up, and then he just powered through to get that last layup in. And that just shows you the lack of size that the Boston Celtics have. My case in point. Good win for the Pacers, bad loss to the Celtics. The Milwaukee Bucks got blown out by a short-handed Knicks. You know what? Again, like I said, this is one of those games where it's part of a weird night where all these playoff teams are getting beat by, according to people, non-playoff teams. But the Milwaukee Bucks, they have no business. They should have no business losing to the New York Knicks. They should have no business losing to the Knicks. To get blown out the way they did, that I was beyond shocked, because the New York Knicks playing against the Bucks, I would expect a game like that. Oh, come on! Don't tell me this thing came out again. I wouldn't expect Giannis to somewhat dominate in a game like this. But again, it's one of those weird nights where the Knicks they were just great, having a great shooting night. The Bucks were struggling, finding ways to score. Chris Middleton is starting to he's trying to be that guy that gets them out of slumps, and it works one night and then it doesn't work in the other. And I don't know. I was still just very confused by this game. This game really confused me. It really did. Let's see what else I want to talk about. The Golden State Warriors finally got a win against the Chicago Bulls, albeit at a buzzer beater. But about damn time they got a win. Like, I know Steph was showing frustration. I know he was getting a little annoyed that they hadn't won a game yet, but it was just the luck of the draw that you had to end up playing the Brooklyn Nets and the Milwaukee Bucks. So I think that's just the luck of the draw. So you ended up playing the Chicago Bulls, and you ended up Damian Lee, I believe, is the one who hit the game winner. But at least they're in the win column. I have nothing else much to say than Steph putting up 36, I believe, and they finally just got a win. Maybe that's just a sigh of relief to finally get that first win. Maybe it'll boost somewhat of confidence into this team, because they're only 1-2 at this point. It's not like they're 0-5. The Washington Wizards are on the opposite end. They are 0-3 after losing to the Orlando Magic. I really didn't watch that game, to be honest, but it's not the Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook pairing. It's working, but not working at the same time. Offensively, it's slow. It's working slowly, but at the same time, it's not working because it's not leading to a win. It hasn't won to a win yet. But it's still early in the season. All of this is still early in the season. Teams are gonna have their struggles. So this is just that weird part of the NBA season where you're gonna see these teams that are experimenting with new pieces. They're gonna be having those nights where they can't seem to have anything going, and you just get frustrated seeing it. But that's just life. That's just life. Not everything goes as planned. So let's see. The Lakers blew out the Timberwolves, albeit without Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns ended up injuring his left hand, I believe. And the Lakers just made Anthony Davis didn't play either. So, but the Lakers personnel overall, they were that was just enough to blow out the Timberwolves. I believe it was a 30-point game when I checked the box score, and then the Lakers into another. There's nothing much more to give on that. I believe I talked about everything I had to talk about in this episode. Like I said, weird night in the NBA. It was just you were just really confused on some of these losses, and record-breaking loss night for the Clippers. We'll see what happens in the next games. I want to see where Brooklyn goes from here after losing Spencer Dinwiddie, and I believe that's all I got for you guys in this episode. Okay, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell if you like basketball content. Stay safe. Stay safe, guys. This is your boy Jay Varsity, and I'm out. Peace.
We got some non-believers out there.
Make believers out of non-believers. Make believers out the overseers. Make them bow down.